Hey everyone, here's a second example of correlation by design. This time we're looking at the New Zealand group on the 1 hour time frame, and the move that we're going to discuss is this one. So we can see it on this pair as well, on this pair as well, New Zealand CAD. It's right here on New Zealand yen, and then on the reversed pairs it is not correlating on this one. I was just looking for it, I couldn't find it. It is correlating on this pair, and it is not really correlating on this pair, just to some extent. Okay, so let's have a look at how everything looks prior to that move on one time frame lower. So it's everything that leads up to the 24th of April, 1400 hours. So let's go to the 15 minutes. Let's open this one up full screen. And that is the move we're looking at. Drawing tool ready. So here we're overall in a big downtrend. So let's draw an arrow here. Hopefully we can see that when I go back to the other screen. And then we have a very orderly pullback right. Seems very straightforward, a V formation and a test. So this one checks all the boxes, no surprises there. Let's put a V there, because it is definitely not a neutral one. It's actually a setup that was that we could have stalked. Actually, it's not something we had to look for. Okay, it's great how all of that drawing is outside the visible. So let me just undo it and draw it again. V, and we are in a big downtrend. Okay, then New Zealand Swiss, big downtrend. I'm going to draw it here just to be sure. This is the move. A little bit harder, this one. Still, it's something we would want to trade after this breach, or if you will, after this breach. This is the first proper pullback we're getting, and that's the V. First test, and then second test here. But obviously the tests are very low. It's already, going down. So not something we can trade, but I'm not really surprised that this works out either, right? So that one is a check. And then New Zealand CAD. So big range. Very big range, and then we broke out of that range, came back in, and then it dropped, and that's the move that we were looking at. So not surprised that it sells from the top of the range there. It is not really something we would trade easily, right? So I'm going to put this as neutral, as something that we're not super surprised, but we're not that keen about it or so sure about it either, right? And it's a range, so sideways. Looking at it, that would be the whole pullback phase. That is a separator, the V, and then the test that went crazy. Okay, not something we would trade, but there is some sort of correlation apart from that crazy test. Probably something from the Canadian dollar there, so not so sure about this one. Okay, and New Zealand yen. Let's go full screen. That is the move that we were looking at. So roughly breach line, very orderly pullback, nice V formation here. Test one, second test. Looks like a very nice trade, textbook stuff. If you grab these, print them out, put them above your bed or above your desk, because this is how you want to trade. But obviously we don't always get these perfect setups. That's why we have to use other tools like correlation to find those less than perfect setups and try and trade those as well. But this one happens to look really, really nice. Definitely something that was in the line of expectations. We're already in a downtrend, so correlation by design, 1, 2, 3. Not too bad. Then Euro New Zealand. what is this doing? Let's go back to that time, 24th of April. Note that this is a reversed pair, so we're looking at something that should go up here. So from around 1400 hours, that is the move up, but as you can see, it's very choppy. There are some things that make sense here though, that we have the breach, we're in an uptrend, so it's not a complete surprise, this one. Pullback is quite aggressive here. Separator, is that the V? First test, second test, comes back. That's the trade. Possible. Okay, so not entirely surprised here. I'm still going to put that as a check mark, even though the big difference here is that it didn't make new highs. That did not happen. But that's only, you know, after the trade. Only after the trade can we be sure about that. Up until this point when the pullback started, everything was normal. Even the pullback itself, it's not so abnormal. The only thing you could argue is this is a pretty big move. The pullback initially didn't come so deep. You have to question yourself whether this big buyer now has enough sellers to buy again. And clearly he didn't. Price had to come up again. And now it's doing a second set of pullback. So this is most likely turning into a 4-hour 60 trade now. Okay, that's another story now. That's not what this lesson is about, but I couldn't help but notice. And then pound New Zealand, also a reversed pair. So we should see a buy somewhere. 24th, around 1400 hours. That's the buy. So what do we have here? This is something different, right? Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit, see what it was doing prior to that. Seems like it was a range before, and then it did what? What on earth is this? What is it trying to do there? Is this a V formation on a higher time frame, and this is the test phase? Perhaps, but why does it come so deep if after that it has the power to go so much higher? That's a little bit weird, right? So if I would see this, you know, at this point in time before it starts to move up higher, I wouldn't be so sure as to what to think about this. Yeah, okay, I see that this is another swing up, but it could also be the start of a range, right? That's a faker that just goes out, and then perhaps this is the bottom of the range. So thinking that this could be the V formation and that's the small test phase, pushing it a little bit. The correlation of the design of the other pairs could tell us or give us some clues, but it would definitely not be my favorite pair to trade, and I don't think this is a good pair to tell us much about the other pairs either, because the other pairs are so much more clear. So this one, let's see, am I completely surprised by this? Yes or no? Let's put it a minus neutral. I'm not entirely surprised, but I'm a little bit surprised by how it played out. Okay, I do think that after this, I was gonna say I do think that after this it's an uptrend, but actually no. I would still categorize that as a range, so not that clear, this one. And you can hear from the way I'm looking at it that it is quite confusing, right? So then Aussie New Zealand from the previous this wasn't, I just need to click here and then go full screen. Aussie New Zealand, from the previous example, we know that correlation on this one is often a little bit off, because Australian dollar and New Zealand dollar are often correlating with each other, which makes Aussie New Zealand as a pair often just do sideways stuff like here and here. Let's see if we can find that move. So 24th of April, we need to see a buy after 1400 hours roughly, so that would be this whole thing there. Okay, not too sure what to think of that. Up until that point we seem to be in this range that was holding, and then it broke out, bounced back to the top, and then from the top it bounced up. surprising. So or let's put it surprising minus, because it does seem like a pullback after a big drop, but to think that this is a good buy, that would be a surprise if you're a normal trend trader. So let's mark it as a range as well. So from these 7 pairs, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 very clear pairs, and the other 3 are less clear or not clear at all. So we can tell that if we on 4 pairs, or even if it's just on 3 pairs, we have that clear pop that we had on New Zealand USD here, and with pop I mean this push here, and then we have a pullback that is showing a similarity across all these pairs, that there's a high probability that they're gonna stay sync and the trade is gonna play out. So what these had in common, all in a downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. The reverse pair was nicely in an uptrend, and then we had a pullback that was very sync, and then the V formation came around the same time as well. So all these design features are all lining up. So yeah, I think this was a pretty nice example of that. It's a little bit more similar as to the examples I gave in the previous lesson. In fact, I just give it a different twist to it to hopefully see how the design is so similar as well. So I hope that makes sense, and yeah, I hope you liked all these examples so far. I'll see if I can make some more in a while. So yeah, thank you all for listening, and good luck. And if you have any questions, obviously the comment section is right below the video, and that goes for all the examples. I just realized that's the first time I'm mentioning it. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it, and looking forward to see what you guys think. Cheers.